Mezzo in music means midway. Mezzo forte, a lesser forte, or midway forte between mezzo piano and forte. These kind of dynamic markings with sort of half step smaller denomination reached some of the dynamic markings of the classical music, such as piano, mezzo piano, forte, mezzo forte. But the double forte, fortissimo, or the double piano, pianissimo, didn't get the usual mezzo fortissimo incrimination or mezzo pianissimo. I find for the mezzo pianissimo that it's more like an intense whisper with intensity rather than a shut down, louder version of soft, like don't wake up the baby, baby sleeping. Pianists specifically have trouble dosaging the levels of the softer dynamics because they have to keep dropping the finger deep in the key with the same speed as when they play loud, minus the weight of the arm. It's counterintuitive because usually we use the arm to push the hand, therefore the palm support of the finger which tip touches the key, and then we obtain this, of course, fast, deep dropping to the bottom of the key of the action of the instrument. And when intuitively people want to play soft, they slowly depress, thinking this will, by allegory of a slap or a caress, be softer played. The problem with the action of the piano is that the speedy drop to the deep of the note of the key gives the precision of the brings the precision of the projection of the note. So if you can play quickly deep without the weight, then the palm support and the straight finger create the leverage that allows for the key to play. To play. To whisper. Most of the pianists play mezzo something, let's say mezzo piano, mezzo forte, undetermined but comfortable enough for the articulation of the dropping fingers so all the notes speak. And if it's too loud with a chamber musician playing with you, or singer, then you put the left pedal, the una corda, the one string out of two, or out of three, depending on which range. Well, it's a muffling of the sound. So if you have a mezzo piano, mezzo pianissimo, mezzo pianississimo, it means it's soft, but it's intense, it's dynamic, and the speed of the depressing is a dynamic. Typical example is the opening of Waldstein, which is not written staccato in any articulation indication of any edition. But the repeated chords of C major in the low register are meant to prolong the sound, just like string quartets would do. And yeah, on the piano being an articulation instrument with percussive hammers bounding from the strings, you hear If you lift the finger halfway up the key and you replay it before it's fully up, you re-prolong it by re-articulating it, but not fully re-articulating the consonant on the vowel. You don't do ta 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 ta, but ta ha 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 ha. I mean, this vocalization of the effects is very summary and not very subtle. But it brings well the fact that when a pianist sees a dynamic range that is soft, this specifically like in the Beethoven Waldstein sonatas opening in question, it's in the low register where the action of the modern pianos is heavier. Then you find yourself, how can I speak all the notes and speak them soft without holes, without accents, without, in other words, controlling the exact debit of each projection of each note, exactly dosaged, when the keys can be differently, unevenly responding. And every piano is different from each other, so therefore you take risks if you're too close to the keys that some will speak, some won't, or some will accent besides your will. So in order to control then, by holding straight fingers deep in the key, lifting and replaying halfway up, you re-impulse the note, and because the fingers are straight from the knuckle, then you don't have the bending, which, because the fingers are different length, inevitably might not speak together. You'll be pudum 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 instead of plop 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 plop. And so therefore pianists very often use the mezzo forte dynamic with a unicorda to play softer, like this, as I speak like this, and not to be too loud instead of whispering intensely. Therefore, you don't have mezzo for pianissimo because you consider that you reach the bottom of the dynamic range before the sound doesn't speak. And therefore, above fortissimo, you don't have, well, sometimes composers write 3, 4, or 5, like Albeniz does in Iberia. Softer than soft is a whole, louder than loud is a bang. The quality of the tone, screaming triple forte, is not possible. It's only banging. You can use the elbow to sort of alleviate the direct action of the hand dropping, or you can use the hand as touching from close up and then using the wrist and the elbow as a suspension on a car, if it were, to avoid that really percussive action. But basically to have a rich forte that is generous and fruity or symphonic or choral or whatever you want, something what goes wah rather than ya, compared to pianissimo, whisper with intensity, then mezzo piano, then mezzo forte, then forte, then fortissimo, and if it's above, it's screamissimo. In fact, the modern piano has a larger range than the earlier pianos between the whisper and the scream, under which and above each you have a distortion of the sound or a disappearance of the sound. The fingers are differently long, differently bending. The wrist has to be free, while the elbow and the arm monitor the natural weight of the elbow or the shoulders going down, so you don't play holding up. Therefore, the dynamic ranges within the same hand, if you have to voice one voice and play soft to the other, or just chordally the same, always sounds better in fortissimo when you touch from close up and you use the arm elbow to alleviate the hitting, but produce as if you drop in the water, sha, fwa, that kind of imaginary sound that you have to always imagine to avoid being betrayed by the instrument's action, after all. Even if you inwardly you hear it triple fortissimo orchestral choral climax on the piano, the quality of the sound, in my humble opinion, has to prevail over the volume. In loudness as well as in softness. The soft should be intense, just like the diminuendo shouldn't drop, but sustain until it drops. And the crescendo shouldn't at once get louder, but dosage progressively, the delay of the crescendo. A good diminuendo and good crescendo, depending on how many beats, bars, or sections it's indicated on the score, needs to be managed with delay in order to not arrive too early too loud, ending by banging, or not to arrive too early too soft, ending up by not having the note speak. The dosage of the middle dynamic range, the mezzo forte, the forte, let's say mezzo piano till mezzo forte, it's a great art for pianists to control on the tip of their fingers from close up within the keys, connecting their fingers to them so that you can, like a sculptor, shape the keys as if you are a sculptor with the material. And sometimes the phrasing, the musical harmonic progression, they determine a little bit that kind of action towards shaping the sounds, the phrases, the whole structure, in fact, of the statement. From the syllable to the sentence, to the paragraph, to the chapter, to macro to micro to macro, nano to macro. Thank you.